So picture this. You're a hardworking, completely exhausted doctor. It is the very end of a brutal 12-hour shift, right?
Oh, yeah, social battery at absolute zero.
Exactly. And your last patient leaves unhappy after a really rushed consultation. So today we're doing a deep dive into Dr. Fang Chenkar's book, Jom Reinful Jim Now Nobu, and we're exploring how one single professional setback like that can just, well, instantly trigger a total identity crisis.
And more importantly, how to actually pull yourself out of it, because in the book's case study, that GP's mind goes into an immediate tailspin. Like, it completely bypasses the thought, well, that was a tough appointment, and just defaults to, she thinks I don't care.
Right, which then morphs into, I'm becoming a bad doctor.
Yeah, and finally lands on, I need to just quit medicine entirely.
Which is wild. I mean, it's like diagnosing yourself with a terminal illness just because you cleared your throat once.
That is exactly what it is.
But I do have to push back here a little bit because we are talking about a highly trained, deeply rational medical professional, you know?
Yeah.
How does someone whose entire job relies on objective analysis lose all of their perspective about their own life that quickly?
Well, it really comes down to the biological reality of physical fatigue. When you are that exhausted, your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, rational part of your brain, is essentially just running on fumes.
So it's basically offline.
Completely offline. And that leaves your amygdala, the emotional center, totally unchecked. So you fall right into what the author calls the ghost we think.
The ghost we think.
Right. Because the GP is so physically depleted, they just succumb immediately to mind reading the patient and then overgeneralizing one bad 15-minute window to define their entire decade-long career.
Okay, so the brain's threat detection system is just completely misfiring.
Yes.
But, I mean, just knowing that doesn't automatically fix it. When your amygdala is screaming at you, how do you actually intervene? Because you can't just tell a panic attack to, like, think positive thoughts.
Oh, absolutely not. Forced positivity usually backfires anyway. So the intervention here is this technique called mind scan. It stands for spot, check, ask if helpful, and nurture a wiser thought.
Spot, check, ask, nurture. Got it.
But the crucial first step, before you even attempt to run that mental checklist, is entirely physical. You have to pause and actually regulate your nervous system first.
Because a flooded mind can't scan its own thoughts.
Exactly. You physically cannot do it. You have to take a breath, literally drop your shoulders, and soften that physical tension to get the prefrontal cortex back online.
And only then do you, CAN, so you spot the thought, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a bad doctor.
Yeah.
Then you check it. Is it an objective fact? No.
Right.
Then you ask if it's helpful, which is obviously no. But I always stumble on this last part, the nurture part.
Right.
Because when you are in the thick of a mental spiral, nurturing a wiser thought sounds suspiciously like you're just lying to yourself.
I get that, but it is not about lying at all. It is about shifting your relationship to the thought using this concept called cognitive diffusion.
Cognitive diffusion. Okay, how does that work?
So instead of saying, I am a bad doctor, the GP practices saying, I am noticing the thought that I'm a bad doctor.
Oh, wow. So you just add that little phrase in front of it?
Yeah, I'm noticing the thought.
Because it creates a sort of linguistic buffer between you and the failure.
It does more than that, actually. It creates a neurological buffer. By labeling it as a thought you are just observing, you essentially force your brain to switch gears.
From feeling to observing.
Exactly. From the emotional experience of being a failure to the executive function of just observing a data point. It neurologically strips the thought of its emotional charge.
That makes so much sense.
Right. And once that distance is created, you can realistically look at it and say, well, I was tired, the consultation went poorly, but I can learn from this. It stops that one rough moment from rewriting your entire self-worth.
So you stop identifying as the ghost and you just watch it float by.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this applies to all of us. Whether you are navigating a hospital ward or, managing a corporate team or even trying to hit a creative deadline.
Yeah, we all get exhausted.
Exactly. Those same mental ghosts show up for you the moment you are physically and mentally drained.
Which actually brings up a slightly terrifying question I want to leave you with, just to mull over. We've been looking at this entire scenario as a solo internal struggle, right? But what happens when these ghosts become contagious?
Oh, that's a dark thought.
Right. Think about it. The next time you make a mistake at work, stop and ask yourself, if you have an entire department or an entire company running on exhaustion, all simultaneously mind-reading each other and overgeneralizing every minor failure, how much of your organization's toxic culture is actually just a room full of people haunted by their own unexamined thoughts?